Good morning, everybody. In the previous day, I had already completed question answer, difference to context, and other exercises in the class. Now I start repeat of chapter 11. Okay, in the previous time, I shall already completed chapter 11, and I give you all things according to this chapter, based on this chapter. Now I repeat it again. So, the boy who loved music, part 3, where part 2, then the George met with the master of the castle choir boys, and the master ordered him to play the music after the service of the Sunday, and then in the chapter 10 ended in this position. Now I start chapter. After this, what had happened? So Sunday service was over. As the Duke and his attendants rose to leave the chapel, the soft notes of the organ came through the quiet air. He was ordered by the master that after the service of the Sunday, he would play the music. So when the Sunday service was over, everybody heard a sweet tone, a quiet sweet tone of organ. It was came from the air, quiet air. Okay, our master of the organ plays nobly today, said the Duke as he stopped to listen. Then he caught sight of the player seated at the organ and exclaimed, "Upon my word, 'tis a child who plays so sweetly. Who may this young master be?" Then the new Duke noticed it. The someone seated on the seat of the master and played that organ. But he, hearing the sweet notes of the music, he told that it might be played by the master of the choir boys. But now he caught sight, he noticed that a little boy was sat on the seat of the master and he played. Then he asked, "Who may this?" He was very astonished, and he queried to himself, "Who may be this boy?" Then, "Your Highness is the son of good Dr. Handel," answered the attendant. I have heard it said that he is a lad of great promise at the organ." Then his attendant, that is the Duke attendant, said this, that he was not a little boy, he was also a little boy, but he was the son of Dr. Handel, and he played the music there. "There can be no doubt at that," declared the Duke. "See that the boy and his father come to my room this afternoon." And the Duke and his attendants walked slowly out of the chapel. Then the Duke ordered the attendant to hold the master, Dr. Handel, hold Dr. Handel with his son, and they maybe he ordered them to present Dr. Handel with his son on the room. Then the Duke and his walked slowly out of the Duke and his attendants walked slowly out of the chapel, and he declared the Duke that the boy and his father came to his room that afternoon. So they came out of the chapel. That afternoon, the doctor and his son were shown into the Duke's castle. Generally, the Dr. Handel came to the Duke's castle, Duke's room, with his son George. At once the doctor cried out, "Your Highness, please forgive the boy's rashness. He is but a child and knew not what he was about. I have scolded him soundly for declaring to play the organ before you." Then the Dr. Handel was very afraid of him. That is, the Duke ordered him to leave the chapel at once because he took his son with him on the chapel, and otherwise he played the chapel organ on the chapel. So he told the Duke that he had rebuked his son for doing some wrong. So he begged to the Duke to forgive his son for his wrong word. The Duke laughed heartily and said, he laughed And then, my dear doctor, I shall have to scold you for scolding the boy. Never has the organ of my chapel been played so sweetly. Dr. Handel, I have to ask a favor of you. Then he was laughing, the Duke was laughing heartily, and he told Dr. Handel that he rebuked him for rebuking his son, because he was very much praised, he was very much satisfied with the son, and with his son for playing the chapel organ. And so he told him that he had never heard the sweet music before that, so before the time. Then, Your Highness, I shall be pleased to do any, I see he do him he asked him to do a favor of him. Your Highness, I shall be pleased to do any favor if you will pardon my boy for his candy. So he also told him that if he pardon him, if he forgive him, so he would do any work for him. Then you will leave the lad with me to be trained in music under the best teacher, said the Duke. The Duke told him that he had to leave the chapel to train his son with a great music master. Dr. Handel was greatly taken aback. Your Highness, he said, trembling with fear that the Duke might be angry, I cannot leave him here. He must go home with me and work at his books. That is, the Duke told him to leave his boy to his palace, but Dr. Handel did not leave him there. He suspected that Duke give him some punishment. Actually, he was pleased and he wanted to train him with a great music master. Then I beg of you to send him to the good master in your own town, said the Duke. The Duke told him that he had to leave his son with him to his own town, but one condition, because the condition was if he took his son to his own town, he would have to train him with a great master, train him music with a great master. Nay, sir, that cannot be either, said the doctor. It is my wish that he should forget about music. It is but a waste of time. But according to Dr. Handel, music was a waste of time. So he told the Duke that it was not possible for him to train his son with music. So he told him that music was a waste of time. Then I command you to have the boy trained in music, said the Duke sternly. Now go. Then the Duke was very angry and he forcefully ordered the Duke to train his son in music. The doctor trembled at the Duke's command, for he knew that he must obey. But George's heart beat fast for joy as he and his father bowed and turned to go. His father was trembled in fear, hearing the command of the Duke, but his son was very much pleased, and he was smiling, and his heart was full of joy to hear that he was ordered to train him with the music. When they reached the door, the Duke called out, "My boy, come back. I have something to say to you. Show me your pocket." Then the Duke called his boy, come here. And then, because he told him, he ordered him to show his pocket. Looking very surprised, George pointed to his pocket. She pointed to his pocket. Into it, the Duke poured a handful of golden coins, saying, "Perhaps these will pay for your first lessons." That he was paid him the money for his first lessons on music, and he gave him a handful of coins to his pocket and told him that he would pay these coins for his first lesson on music. "Your Highness" was all the George could say. George say that "Your Highness." That is, he was very much surprised, he was very much pleased. When the doctor and his son arrived back in their hometown, George began to study music under the best teacher that could be found. And after returning their town, George would be trained with a great master on music. Before long, we are told, he knew more than his master, and his name became known even at the royal court in Berlin. What a proud day it was for him when he was called to play before the Queen. At that time, he was a great master. He knew more than his master. One day he became very famous in the field of music, and it was a proud day. What was the proud day? It was a proud day that when he was called to play before. At that time, the Berlin was ruled by the queen, and it was a proud day because he was called, he was ordered, he was requested to play music before the queen. Some years later, George Handel came to live in England, and there he spent most of his busy life writing music which had made his name famous for him. And after that, he returned to the town of England, and he spent there his busy time in writing on music, and in this way he was famous in the field of music. Near the end of his life he became blind. Near the end of his life, and at the end of his life, when he was grew old, he became blind. Even then, however, he did not give up writing music, but found someone to write it down for him. When Handel died, he was buried in Westminster Abbey in London, among the greatest people of the land. That is, when he became blind, he never give up his writing on music. Another write on his music. He was told in his mouth, but someone write it down for him. And when he was died, he was died in Westminster Abbey in London, and there he was buried in Westminster Abbey in London, among the greatest people of the land of London. Okay, this is the story. I again explained chapter 11 in front of you, and you also learned this story again, and you learned each and every line repeatedly. And I give you in the next day, I gave you some word meanings, questions, and other exercises. Okay, you learned this wholeheartedly at home. Thank you very much.